See what you can do when you use a little bit of grid work in your quilting? Hey guys, welcome back to Frances Quilts. Well, this week we are back to working on this charity quilt. I said we were going to do the border, and I know you all thought we're going to do one time with the border and then we'll be through. I don't think so. I'm enjoying trying different things on this quilt. So I thought today we would do some grid work on these large pieces in here in the border. And then probably next time we'll do something different around the corners, and then we'll still have some triangles here that we'll need to deal with. So over the next few weeks, we're going to get this quilt finished up. But today we're going to do some grid work. As you can see, I've already drawn the grid in. Let me show you that, and then we'll head to the machine. All right, I'm going to be doing a fair amount of marking on this in these green rectangles. I'm going to be putting in some squares there, and I'm going to be using Sue's grid liner from SueHines.com. I'll leave a link in the show notes where you can purchase this ruler. It's a great little ruler for marking these. Obviously, you could do it just with a ruler itself, but this works really nicely. Let me show you. Now I'm going to take my grid liner and I'm going to line up one of these openings here along the seam that I've taken right here. And this grid is a 1/2 inch grid, so I want to come down 2 grids to the 1 inch mark, and I'm going to do a line across, come down 2 more. And even though it's close to the bottom here, I'm going to go ahead and do 1 more. Just maybe that will help me not to cut off those edges as much. Obviously, I'm going to lose a little bit here because my piecing has not been perfect. So what I may do is I think I actually will just come up a hair from that one and make this bottom grid just a tiny bit smaller than the others have been. Then I'm going to come from this other side and I'm going to mark here. I'm going to line up one of my horizontal lines here and my vertical lines along this edge here. And again, I'm going to come over 2 and put my lines in every 1 inch. You could obviously do 1.5 inch if you wanted to make them larger, or you could do them every 1/2 inch if you wanted it to be really small. Okay, there we have our grid. Obviously, I'm going to lose a little bit down here because I have not been perfect with my piecing, but for this quilt, that's okay. Okay, this is going to be super simple now that we have it drawn. We're going to start stitching in this corner, and we're going to stitch a straight-ish line from here to this point, and then another line back up to here. And we're going to keep just working our way across all the way from point to point to point to point to point to point until we get up here in this corner. And then we're going to just stitch in the ditch down to here. And we're going to start coming back the other direction. We're going to come down to here and then back up and down and up and down and up. Now, the hardest thing about this is keeping those lines straight. I could use a ruler, but I've decided not to. I'm going to try it just freehanding it. I have done one already, and what I found is I did really well going this direction. When I got up here and I started going this way, these first 2 were very rounded because I couldn't figure out exactly how to hold the quilt and how to move it. So I'm just going to have to stop and think at each point, how am I going to be quilting the next line? That, however, is the joy of grid designs. You're just stitching one line at a time. You don't have to worry about anything else. So let's get set up and get started. All right, my first stitching is going to be from here to this point right here. So I'm going to be thinking straight line, straight line, straight line. I'm going to be looking at the point that I'm headed to, and let's see if I can do a straight line from one to the other. Yeah, not bad. Now we're going to come back up to this point here. Again, thinking straight line, looking at where you're going. Not as straight, but not horrible. Let's come back down. That one had a little curve at the end. That was better. Okay, back up to that corner. Let's stitch down that ditch for 1 inch. All right, now here's the tricky part. We're going to come from here to here. Can I do that? Let's see. I'm going to turn it just a little bit just to give myself a little bit of an angle to be working on. Put my hands in place and we're going to stitch from here to here. Straight-ish. Yeah, still got some curve in it. Not horrible, but a little bit of curve. Let's come back up. Okay, back down. They're getting better. That first one is still the worst one, but they've gotten better as they've gone, and honestly I like it if I don't have to stop at each point, because getting started sometimes is where you have trouble. So I'm going to try as best as I can to not stop at each point. Let's see if I can make it all the way over to the end without stopping. That's looking okay. Let's finish it up. Come down 1 more inch. Okay, and then let's stitch this last section here. You saw a jump in that one. It's because when I looked, I thought I was going here instead of there, so I had my ankle wrong to begin with. Concentrate, Frances. That's not bad. Let's do another one. I don't know about you, but I like how that looks. Now, honestly, I wished I had gone ahead and filled up these triangles there with those designs. I think that would have looked really good, but that's okay. That just gives us something else we can play with. Now guys, on this quilt, we have been trying to do most of it without having to mark. So we did it different this time, and we had to mark a lot. It didn't take a lot of time to mark it, and it was pretty easy to do, but that's what we had to do to be able to get these pieces to be as symmetrical as they are. Now next week, we're going to fill up these corner areas with a different kind of grid work. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do, but I think we're going to put some curves in there next time. We may find that those are a little bit easier to do than the straight lines were this time. If you found something that you liked in this video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. And remember to check out the grid liner ruler from Sue Hines. As I said, I'll have a link in the show notes below. Well guys, thank you so much for joining me here today. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next time on Frances Quilts. Remember, if you like what you've seen, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please check out my website and daily blog at francesquilts.com, and I can be found on Facebook and Instagram at Frances Quilts. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you again soon.